Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I woke up this morning and the water was off. I've been having a lot of issues with that. Kind of threw my day off big time because I wanted to get out and do what needed to be done, whatever it was. Just get around. But I'm not able to shower. I did get a chance to shave my head, but I wasn't able to shower before they turned that water off. So I ended up waiting. I'm like, man, I'm not leaving the house until I'm able to shower. And they turned it on about 1 o'clock or something like that. So what time is it now? And they turned it on probably about 12:30. So it's like 1:35 right now. And I'm able to kind of go take care of what needs to be taken care of in regards to paying those folks. So that's what I'm doing. Just gonna take my little walk down to the police station as I always do and use their ATM. And that'll be my walking outing for the day. Kind of sucks because I wanted to do a little more with my day, but these people need to be paid, and this did throw off that hour. I mean, I kind of get out around this hour anyway a lot of times, so that's not really that big of a deal, but I was definitely ready to move out of there around probably like 11:35. I was already ready to shower, so I would have been out an hour ago. So it is what it is, man. Had a good breakfast. Feel pretty solid. No complaints really outside of that. And finally got the art up for Lee CD 411 is the number. Hated the art on that. Absolutely hated it. I went with the less is more approach since on the last two pieces of art in regards to my CDs, I did a lot of layers. Whole lot of layers, coats and coats and coats of different colors and stuff like that. Came out great, came out looking professional. So this time I'm like, let me go with a little less, man. It's probably the way to go for me. Just see how that looks. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I was like, man, this looks like I was lazy, and that wasn't even what I was going for. It looked like some of the stuff that I did early when I first started doing playlist art, that it hadn't evolved. So I don't know, I just wasn't happy with it, but I didn't decide to do it. I didn't throw the CD away to do another piece of art. I just said, you know what, this is just what it's gonna be. So yeah, 411 Delete CD. Hate the art, but I did do some nice pieces last night, which was kind of confusing because that's usually the energy. It's like, let me get all of the rustiness and all of that stuff out while I'm listening to the music. Do about 5 or 6 pages, maybe even 7 pages of clean art, and then when it's time to do the CD, I will have already ramped up. And usually the CDs come out great because I've been working on art for like an hour and a half already. I did some really good pieces for my standards in regards to the pages, but once I picked up the CD art, that was garbage. I'm like, man, are you kidding me? And it's a pretty good CD too. So I'm like, I mean, the music itself was pretty solid. So I'm like, man, it's ain't up to the standards that I was hoping it would be, but it's done. It's done. So that is that. But yeah, man, feel pretty good. Had some pretty solid sleep last night, making up for the fact that I didn't sleep much on Saturday night. But I don't remember what I dreamed, but it wasn't nothing too poignant. So yeah, man, just another day at it. I feel good, a little winded. I don't know why that is, but I'm pretty sure I'll feel fine by the time I walk back. So it ain't too much to it. And yeah, man, what else is going on in the world? This Gaza thing, I pay attention to what's going on there, but I don't think there's any updates to my understanding other than Gaza, the ceasefire. Israel doesn't really want to go forward with the ceasefire agreement. Big surprise there. That's what's to be expected, man. Honestly, I never expect Israel to do the right thing. And then we talked about them at length yesterday in my therapy session, as I've talked about them in probably about 500 therapy sessions. I don't expect nothing good out of that from them. So moving forward, hopefully, the prayers that we continue to pray, coupled with the awareness that we try to raise, myself along with all the others who are out here in this world trying to speak up to the truth, will slowly but surely awaken people to what it is that's going on there and how wrong it is. No matter how much you believe what you were taught, if you were of that mindset or of that ideology, you were fed something that was poisonous and really bad for the world. And I hope that you seeing how people are reacting to you helps you understand just how bankrupt it is. But I don't know that it's designed to do that. It's not designed to react to the world itself in regards to moving in a direction that otherwise the rest of us would hope it would after being shamed by us. It doesn't. It's bulletproof in that regard because all of us are supposed to be beneath them. So of course, because of what it is that's in their Torah, Talmud, or whatever it is, we're supposed to just be wrong. Never mind what the world is telling you. The Torah says, and it's like, all right, and they wrote with that, and they don't give a damn about logic or reason or people crying out for this to please stop or any of that. It's just what the Torah says. So moving on what the Torah says. It's like, well, if your intentions are going to be that bulletproof in regards to being held accountable for, then the only thing left for the world to do is get rid of you. I'm being completely honest with you, and you better hope the world doesn't come to that conclusion. And that's what I would tell all of the Zionists out there. You better hope the world don't come to that conclusion, because you think you want war, you think you're victims, but it's more of us than there is of you. At the end of the day, you outnumbered. Man, I'm pretty sure you have some nuclear program to ready to drop a bomb on the whole world and all this stuff. I'm like, whatever, man. If you think that's going to keep me from speaking up, it ain't. I already predicted that was what America was, and a lot of people who are complicit to this nonsense is afraid of in the first place. One of the probably third or fourth conversation we had about this is these idiots probably got some secret nuclear bomb that they threatening to use if we don't go along with their bullshit. I'm not a godless person, so that type of threat doesn't concern me like it would these capitalists out here who the money is their God, but God can't save them from being blown up by Zionist baby killers or whatever the hell. Another thing that I've been hearing a lot about, just scrolling through Instagram, people doing homework and sharing it with the rest of us, is that a lot of the stuff that we've seen in regards to like Epstein Island and stuff like that, that's all Zionist run bullshit. It traces back to Israel. From what I understand, Epstein was it's being said that he is or was a asset for the Israeli government. Surprise. And a lot of what he had that was blackmailing a lot of the people on his list is essentially in other people's possession as well in that particular region. So, you know, the videotapes and all of that were allegedly taken on his island are in the possession of the Israeli government. A lot of the people who are on those videotapes are of elected officials. Surprise. We talked about that on what, the 5th or 6th conversation about the genocide. I mean, some of this stuff is so easy to tell, man. That's the problem. It's like a lot of this stuff ain't that hard for me to see. I can just see in your behavior you're afraid of something coming out, and what likely is some sick sex freak stuff. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Just put 2 and 2 together, and you can clearly see that we're compromised, held by the balls. We've been talking about this in so many different variations, and now the information that this is likely what's going on or is what's going on is starting to come out, and it's just like, yeah, but like, to be completely honest with you, these are all things that I already thought it were anyway. Not surprised by any of that. That's what I predicted it was in the beginning. So a lot of the stuff that people are starting to find homework on, and they starting to realize stuff that we've been saying was the whole time, bro. Let's go back and watch my therapy sessions. We talked about all this stuff. And I don't know how I know what it is that I know. I just listen to what it is that the Lord puts in my heart, and I just tell people, like, you know what I mean? Some stuff is not even me meditating too hard. It's just looking at people's behavior and saying, yo, what would make them do this? Being afraid of something coming out that would ultimately either put them in prison or give them the chair or embarrass them to high hell or remove all credibility for them. And what would do that? These are the type of questions you ask yourself when you watch people align with baby-killing bastards. It's like, damn, what would keep you silent in regards to that? Well, I would have to be afraid of something coming out about myself that I wouldn't want nobody to know, that I wouldn't want my family to know, that I would ultimately kill myself if were released. You know, that type of thing. And then you look at Israel and how they operate. It's like, well, they're obviously going to dangle those things in front of you. You look at how they invest in so many different deterioration propaganda machines that destroy the black people. You see how they treat the people in Congo, so they hate us. So it's like, okay, how does that application apply to who it is they want to have by the balls? Well, they do something similar to those people in a different kind of way. Exploit their work, dangle something in front of them that ultimately they probably shouldn't want, but desperately are going to want. Expose all their sicknesses to what it is that ultimately feeds those demons, and then hold them by the balls with that. I mean, some of this stuff is just like, yo, bro, this ain't rocket science. This ain't hard. This ain't hard to tell, man. Hey, look at your behavior over there, and I can tell you exactly what your ass is gonna do over there, somewhere else. It's not. My brain sees stuff like this without actually thinking too hard, man. So it's like, when I look at this whole situation, I just feel like, man, I guess I was born to be able to share with people what is there, even though I don't have any evidence or proof. It's just there in my head, and I just run with what I think it is, and then I look around and find out people are revealing to me that I was right. That's what's happening here. That's exactly what's happening here. So it's like, all right, man, whatever. My mom kind of had a gift like that in a similar way, so I guess I just inherited that special thing from her. I encourage everybody to check out every therapy session I ever made, man. It's going to take you about 1.5 years to get through all of them, but you're going to find out a lot of the stuff that we talked about leading up to this situation. All that stuff is going to probably, a good portion of it is probably revealed to be exactly what it is. All the things I said, I think it may be, I think it is. That's what I'm finding out. So, this is what it is. I don't call myself a prophet or nothing. I don't know nothing about that type of stuff. I just meditate, use my brain, look around, remember 40 years of behaviors, look at my own trauma, think about desperation and what people need to do with things they want to do, learn from all the experiences I've had spiritually, and apply them to the understanding of spiritual warfare, which I was raised to believe is the real thing by my mother. Finding out that it is. You know what I mean? A lot of this stuff is just, I'm wired to tell y'all what it is I see there. And that's just what it is, man. So, I don't know, man. As I said in a video yesterday, Israel is the devil in human form. It ain't deeper than that. Zionists, Jews are the devil in human form. They are his chosen people. They have been his chosen people for thousands of years. That is why they take, steal, kill, maim, and see themselves as victims despite being the aggressors, because they lie to themselves. They live in devilish confusion, and they own Hollywood. Hell, they founded Hollywood. So that's why you see a lot of your celebrities aligned with their bullshit, because the agenda was always in place for you to believe that they are above you in some way, shape, or form. And that is why so much of what it is we're seeing on TV is aligned with their intentions. A lot of what has been programmed into our minds as funny or folly is a lot of stuff that's just suggested so that we believe shit they need us to believe in order for them to control the world the way that they do. So when you see old generations who didn't have this type of content in their ears, all they had was the Zionist run programming, and you wonder why a lot of our older people align so strongly with the lies, because they were raised to trust the liars, as for which we were raised in an era where we were exposed to the liars being liars. And that is what it is. When you have that type of programming embedded in your skull your entire life, you are not going to be able to think your way through it unless you're a very special individual. There are a few very special individuals out there able to do that, and it's very unfortunate because we need everybody to be aware of just how bullshit all of this has always been. Always been. But your true north is to understand compassion, and that they don't have it. That's the thing you need to understand above all else. And as I tell people, don't wait for a fellow man to tell you what compassion is. An animal will show you what compassion is. I don't need to be around a human being at all to know what compassion is. You understand what I'm saying? If anything, human beings show me what it's not. So I'm not at all moved or concerned or worried, or strained by any of this. Because the God I serve has already put it in my heart to understand I ain't worried. I ain't supposed to be worried because these are the losers. They the losers. And I'm not immortal. So whatever the hell they're going to do, they're just going to do either way. Far be it for me to act like I got to be here. The only way I'm going to leave this earth is by way of them hurting me for telling the truth. Like, please, man, there's a million ways to die. Choose one. There's a million ways to live. Choose one. As a coward, probably ain't the choice to live by, man. But so many people choose cowardice, call themselves protectors of their family and shit. It's craziness to me. It's craziness to me. Passing forward horrors to their children, passing forward a world controlled by devils and worshippers of nonsense. It's craziness. So that's why I speak the way I speak, man. I don't walk around in fear. I don't do that. Not when it comes to stuff like this. Not at all. And I've been afforded the ability to think for myself. And if I am inclined to use it, which I try to most of the time, it's always going to point back to just believe in something greater than yourself. Follow compassion as your true north for making it happy. And anything that goes against that is probably warped by his enemy, who wants you to engage in destructive behaviors that you ultimately cannot survive. That is literally how that goes. And so I just want people to understand that's what I do. Go by compassion and understanding that compassion is ultimately the thing that's going to make the one that created me the most happy with me. And so, yeah, man, we gotta strengthen up, man. I tell people, let's smarten up, strengthen up. There are a million ways to die. And you ain't got to worry too much about death because it'll be in your face when it's time. Until then, you got to live for something. You got to live for something more than what it is that the world around you, the Zionist-run, devilish world around you tells you to live by. And you being lacking compassion, it's definitely one way to make the devil happy. That's what that's. You can always do that. So don't for your betterment. Don't. Simply don't. At any rate, that's pretty much as I want to say about that, man. I don't have any children, but I'd imagine the Lord has put me on this earth to protect them. And it is something that I'm very passionate about. As somebody who felt as a child I might have been left unsafe in some situations, which are fully documented on this channel. And so I have a special interest in not seeing kids go through that, and or anything of any kind that isn't of God, I guess you could say, at the behest of human beings and their sicknesses or what have you. And in this country, Israel first, not the protection of children, not the protection of innocence or any of that. It's basically Israel first, and that's how they move. So if that's not what you're about, you're going to find a lot of people unhappy with you in this country right now, where decisions are made. And that's really what I see there. Israel doesn't have any interest in protecting children at all. The only children they're interested in protecting are the ones they can raise to fight for their wars. That's what it really is. The ones they can use to impose their ideology that they are better than everybody else. And then the ones, furthermore, that they can kill by way of the Hannibal Directive and then blame somebody else for murdering. Those are the only kids they're really interested in protecting, the ones they plan on killing. Sounds extreme, but the evidence shows you that is not inaccurate. And that's what people need to really understand. We're living in a world where the extreme is accurate when it comes to Israel and the ways that they're willing to enact their supremacy on the world, man. It's extreme. Nobody's anti-Semitic here. I don't hate Jews. I don't know any Jews. So who am I to hate? Hell, I don't know any Zionists. Although I'm pretty sure I do now that I think about it. They just aren't necessarily identified as Jews. But whatever the case may be, if you're interested in furthering the white supremacy colonial project, you just got to understand something, man. God is not pleased with you. And if you're cool with that, then keep doing what you're doing. But if you want to make God happy, you need to stop supporting this. I don't give a damn how long you've been taught this, how much you've already fought for it, whatever your interest is in keeping it going. You're afraid of what falls apart. It's going to fall apart. If that's what you're worried about, you better come to terms with that now. Whether you support it falling apart or not, it's not going to keep that thing together. The karma that is engaged in building itself is going to be ultimately what pulls it apart, not necessarily anybody's intentions. No, this thing is destined to fail. And that's why I would tell all my veterans, all my good American people, this thing was never built to last, because it was done on the backs of the suffering of others. And if you know anything about karma, then you know damn well nothing like that is going to last forever. It's just not. It's going to fall hard. It's going to teach a lot of people lessons when it does, and that is exactly what this thing deserves. And if you're not preparing yourself for that in some way, shape, or form, you're going to be caught off guard by it, and you shouldn't be, because it's common damn sense. That's what it really comes down to. You got to be spiritually backwards or utterly in some space of denial to think that this thing is going to stay as strong as it is today. And with us continuing the same practices that ultimately made it what it is, it's not going to work. It ain't going to work. The sheer notion that its government would sell itself down the river to people who are killing children should let you know this thing can't fall. It can't stand. If it were meant to stand, that would never be possible in the first place. Consider it. Why in the world would it even be possible that your government sell itself to people who are doing horrible things? Selling itself to any foreign nation, but to foreign nations that are doing horrible things? No, it's not built to last. It's not. We were built Ford tough. No, you're not. You're not. God is just letting you get fat enough and famous enough so that everybody can watch it when it falls apart, that it falls apart. To never do what it is that this thing did. Again, never. That's ultimately what America's going to be, is a great human lesson. To never ever think you're getting away with nothing. Because somebody's always watching, and don't ever think that you're so big that you can't fall. Because even stars explode. Bigger ones than this one we're on right here. So that's what I'm telling all of you guys. And that's another reason, of many reasons, why I'm not afraid to speak against Israel or speak against some of the stuff that the American government's doing right now. Because a lot of them, by way of the complicity and the example of individuals like me being quiet in the presence of their wrongdoing, makes them believe that they're too big to fall. And there's no such thing as something that's too big to fall. No such thing. Only that of the Creator himself. So these are the things that we're going to talk about. Money will not save you. If you expecting your money to save you in the presence of circumstances where people have done wrong to children, specifically young people, and you think you're not going to fall, or you think you're exempt because these young people don't matter as much as those young people do in your mind, you think that that's the law, you are the example. You're going to be the example of why to never follow that line of thinking ever again, or follow that spiritual alignment ever again. And I'll tell all you Torah readers something, all you Talmud readers something. Just like I feel like I've been very vindicated in everything that I've said that's starting to be revealed to me is accurate, even though I didn't have any evidence as such. Let me give you another prediction. That is the devil's work you're reading. Those are his words. That is not of the living God. I'm just telling you right now. There are facets of people in this world that believe they follow Satan. They call themselves Satanists. Although a lot of times they try to stand for things that equal equality, which is really confusing to me. I don't think they quite understand what it is that they think they support. They're not, with all due respect to anybody who knows what I do not know, I'm just telling you what's in my heart to tell you. Them ain't real Satanists. The people who run around wearing black, say they're Satanists, go to the synagogue of Satan, that's not real Satanism. That's not the real thing. The real thing is actually Zionism. That's the actual Satanism. That's the real religion of the enemy of God. It's not Islam like they want to tell you it is. It's not Christianity, though a lot of them do things behind Christianity. That's not what Christ was about. They're just trying to pervert his name, pervert his religion so that people will turn away from him. The actual religion of the enemy, the real Satanism, is Zionism. The essence of itself is that something was given to them by God, though they don't believe in God. Devilish confusion. It's the essence of what his foundation is. That for which cannot be is what ultimately they believe. Before they even start thinking anything else, it's an atheist told us God provided us something that is meant for all of us. And we are chosen people, even though we choose to be a part of the chosen people, so therefore anybody could be it. Like the essence of that, in and of itself, is confusion. You got to read the tea leaves surrounding circumstances, not just listen to what people are saying. Because it'll tell you the spirit and the essence behind what it is that you're looking at. The spirits and the essence behind that is that we believe that we were given something that was given by something that doesn't exist, and therefore we do not believe but still believe at the same time. It is the emphasis of the devil's driven intention against the Lord. That's exactly what that is. It's confusion that he can both be at war with something that he doesn't believe in at the same time. That he can defy and take power from something that ultimately he wants the people who follow him not believe in. That he can war with something that he effectively has psyched himself into believing does not exist. And then from there can embody that for which doesn't exist in himself. But not to build, but to destroy that for which was created by that for which never existed. See what I'm saying? It's just confusion. It's complete and utter confusion. It is ego-driven confusion. That's why I'm telling everybody, look, a lot of y'all want to believe in Satan, all this and that, say that y'all Satanists. You truly believe that you're following the evil one, and the first thing y'all want to do is cry about what's fair in not having people's religion placed upon your head. All of that desires something that some would otherwise feel is good. You're not doing the devil's work. You're not. And I hear one of y'all open your mouths to say, yo, let's get religion out of the schools because it's unfair. Devil don't have nothing to do with no fairness. He's laughing at you. You're not even following him. He's gonna torture you bad when he gets his hands on you, because you're not really following him. If you were really following him, you would join Zionist movement. That's what you do. Tell me what to know, man. Now what I think, what is in my spirit to tell you. That's exactly what it is. There's a lot of y'all confused about what the devil actually is. It's because you hate Christianity, because Christianity is showing you so much evil and you're unhappy with it. So you figure you go against that and then move in a way that ultimately gives an alternative space and call it against God as it pertains to Satan, but it's not really Satan, because the moment you get in place with stuff that Satan puts in place, then all of a sudden you're unhappy and want change. That's not real Satanism. That's not really what it is. Or y'all think because y'all can, do all types of evil stuff that you're doing the devil's work? No, his work is done through the Zionists. They are the ones who are really doing it. And the last thing they are doing is running around saying they are behind him. They're not behind him. I'm just telling you the truth. Those who say they're behind him ain't behind him, because those who are behind him ain't saying they're behind him. Tell me what I know. Y'all flunkies. Y'all not real Satanists. I'm just telling the truth. Y'all hope to be embraced by that for which you perceive is evil. You're not really evil. Like, that needs to be said, because there's a lot of people who run around thinking they're evil. They're not. They may be evil. Yeah, I ain't gonna say they're not evil, but to say they embody what ultimately is aligned with the intention of the enemy, no, they don't. They're not. They're not. They hope to be, but they're not. They don't understand it. They don't understand it. If they did, they'd stop calling themselves Satanists. Just being honest. If you're rolling with the devil, you're moving in confusion. You're moving in lies, and you're definitely not standing up saying that you of the devil. You're not. You're not doing that. You're not doing that. What you're probably saying is that you do something for God, that you're about the purity of something, and there only should be one people, and then therefore you're victims and moving that way. That's the real evil in the world, the actual devil's religion. So that's what I wanted to share with you all. That's what it is that I know. That's what I not only believe. Belief requires you to not have some certainty in a lot of cases. It's like you're moving in a space from which certainty is not, but because of your faith, you move with it anyway. Nah, this ain't what that is. This is what I feel the Lord is actually giving me to say. It's exactly what that is. There's a lot of people who just want to be happy. They just want to be happy in a lot of cases. And they feel that everything that has to do with religion makes them unhappy. So they roll with something that they think goes against that for which makes them unhappy. You're longing for something you're not going to get from the enemy. You're going to get what you're looking for from God. Calling yourself enemies of God. You're not. You're just unhappy. I'm just telling the truth. Now, the essence of the real enemy, it's not nearly as simple as a lot of people want it to be. Not at all. I want to tell people something, man. It ain't nothing good about being aligned with the enemy. Whether you're faking it with him deeply like a Zionist is, there's nothing good about that. You want to fight that at every turn, because what people do not fathom properly, what their imaginations fail them in understanding, is that the enemy and God are in lockstep with your suffering for aligning with the enemy. Long-standing, everlasting. So whatever your perception is of aligning with the enemy, for which you would have some fun, or that your unhappiness will go away, or that you will be given all of the things that ultimately make life cool, or that you would ultimately receive something that would make it so that you're stronger than God, or whatever that is, you need to go deep into yourself. Identify what it is that absolutely makes you unhappy and uncomfortable, and then understand that that is the space from which you're going to be in for the rest of eternity for aligning with the enemy. Not what I tell you is ugly for you, like burning in hell or everlasting pain or something. Like, no. The exact thing that you cannot stand is what ultimately you're signing up for. So the essence of being against oneself, a lot of people perceive themselves to hate themselves. I want to torture me. No, you don't. You just don't perceive everlasting well enough to understand that you are you, and eventually you're going to snap out of that and then realize that you have things coming at you that are undesirable to you, and that there is no cease to such. That ain't nothing to play with. That's why I look at people who say they are Satanists, and people want, like, you don't understand any of this. You don't understand any of this. You're signing up for your own discomfort, everlasting. The enemy is going to lose. He's not a winner. He don't even want to win. And he's not sure of it. He's confused. That's the point. And all of his brass bravado and ego and influence, it still just comes down to him being confused, not being certain of what exactly he's signing up for and how much it exactly should not be signed up for by any one single thing with a perception of any kind. You have a synopsis of any kind. You should not be trying to align with something that can make your life and your afterlife eternally unwelcoming to you. Everybody's annoyed by something. All of us have a food that we don't like, or a song we can't stand to listen to, or an uncomfortable position from which if we lay in too long, we're unhappy with it. Those are the exact things that you are signing up for. That for which is custom to you, that you do not like. When you line up with the enemy of God. And the enemy of God and God are both going to agree that you should be in those spaces for an eternity. For doing so. And that's what I'm telling people. It's like, it's not nothing to play with.
Just beat you guys. Just beat you guys.
It's nothing to play with. That's why I want to express to people, like, look, if you're unhappy with your life, or if you're unhappy with God, or you're unhappy with how things have gone, you got to have a conversation with the Most High. You got to talk that out with Him. Cuss at Him if you have to. I've done it before. You understand what I'm saying? Like, literally, work that out with the only thing that can change your situation. Because once you line up against Him, now what you're signing up for is what is exactly against what it is that you're ultimately going to appreciate. For all time. That's like, it's so easy for my mind to see, man. And I'm so sad that there's so many people who are just unhappy with their circumstances because they've been treated poorly for so long, or because they done had, horrible things happen to them as children, or because they can't overcome their sicknesses, or whatever the hell, they can't overcome that for which is temptation, or somebody died in their life and it sent them into a space of darkness. Like, those are all relatable, understandable things in the human experience. Those are understandable experiences. It's not like that for which created you doesn't understand your resentment for those circumstances being in your life. You have to start something all over 1,000,000 times. You've been tortured by the enemy, and you don't understand why God allowed it to happen. Very understandable points of views for a human experience. Don't line up against God because of those very understandable experiences that ultimately you've suffered. Because it's not going to bring you any pleasure. You're not going to get back at God. You're not going to change your circumstances for the better by lining up against that for which controls all things, including you. You don't want to get into a sport with an entity like that because it knows your move before you move. It knows exactly how to get to you. That's why it makes no sense to fight with God, because he can bind you so that you cannot move. And then proceed to beat you up. Like, there's no winning against something like that. And because there's no winning against something like that, there's never any sense in fighting or warring with something like that. But because man is so arrogant and so small in a lot of his ways of doing things, and so comfortable that he is the all-seeing eye, in a lot of cases, he just moves in ways that war with something that he doesn't understand, that can custom itself against him infinitely, and that you even have the free will to feel anything is at the behest of this energy. So why that you feel anything should you be at war with that for which allows for you to even be cognizant enough from which to feel in the first place? You can turn your feelings off at any given point. He gives you the ability to feel. See, this is too big for a lot of people's minds, so it's like they try to war with this entity, like it's some type of man or something. Like your arms are too short to box with God. Anybody heard of that play? It's literally that simple, man. You're not gonna reach him. You're not gonna touch him. You ain't gonna hurt him. You're gonna hurt yourself. You may hurt his feelings by hurting yourself, but it's gonna hurt you more. And you gotta understand, the Lord lives with an everlasting hurt soul, because one of us has already been lost. You just another one. You understand what I'm saying? You giving yourself to the enemy is not going to change the reality that the Lord lives in pain off of the sense that so many have done so. You're just another one. He feels that just like he felt the last one, just like he'll feel the next one. Don't give yourself to that. You're not winning by destroying yourself. You're not getting back at God effectively by destroying yourself, by aligning with the enemy, by siding with the devil. That type of childishness brings about consequences for you that outlast that for which you feel. I'm trying to help people because there's a lot of people who just don't, their imagination failed them. That's what it really comes down to. Their imagination fails them. They don't have the ability to imagine the worst of things, so they move forward in directions for which to catch them off guard if they were to see exactly how it turned out. Their imagination failed. Their perception and their understanding, their ability to put two and two together, it fails them. They move in directions that send them down paths they're not ready for. And then when they get down them paths, it's too late to turn back around. Their arrogance and their further lack of imagination keeps them on that path as if it's too late to turn around. It ain't. Turn yourself around. It can still get better. It can still get worse. Turn around. You're heartbroken. You got to ask for healing. You can only go one place to get that healing. A lot of us so angry, and so arrogant, we don't even want to turn to the thing that can help us with what it is that we need help with. Too busy trying to be at war with it for the fact that we're unhappy, not knowing that he put us in that unhappiness to bring us closer to him, not further away. You strengthen your relationship through that unhappiness, and it'll be that for which cannot be broken, for which you will need when the worst things come around. For this wasn't that. Y'all line up with losers and expect to win. You line up with the devil, expect to win. It doesn't make any sense. And then be shocked to heck when what it is that he controls betrays you. I can't believe I didn't find loyalty out here in these streets. I can't believe that dude I did that awful crime with that hurt so many people is now turning on me. Like, what are you talking about? What the hell you think you were doing out there? And call it destruction for a reason. Spiritual midgets, man, I'm telling you. You gotta grow. Stop following people who want to do horrible things, thinking good things are gonna come from it. Nothing good comes from that. Thinking that we're gonna find loyalty or happiness or something, that ain't where you find those things. Those things are found in something greater than yourself. Not in destroying yourself in hopes of deterring that for which created all of us from what? Exactly. Doing it again? What do you think you're actually doing? I'll show him. Like, what are you talking about? I'm just gonna be bad because, well, ain't nothing good happening anyway. Like, no, that's not how you get anything good to come, no. I'm gonna follow them because they at war with God and they agree with me. I found family over there. That family come from God. Family don't come from getting back at God. Like, community, what do you think brought you to community? What makes you think of anything at all? At first, the behest of the Lord, from which allows you to think and feel, for which perception of family would then be possible. He allows you to even want such things, let alone that you would ever have them. Anyway, man, that's really what it is. I done told y'all what it is. I ain't no God. I don't tell people I'm God. Only a spiritual midget would think I'm running around here telling people I'm God after listening to me. We need to stop following spiritual midgets, man. I'm telling you. And I'm sorry for the M word. A lot of people are offended by that word, but it's an offensive point of view. It doesn't serve me to say spiritual little people. No, you got to say something derogatory to drive it in as something to not be. It holds its purpose in hopes of deterring you from being that. Find substance in your life. Look at God as the factory from which all things that are desirable, truly good for you, that align with a path that is ultimately for your betterment, comes from. A lot of us are so caught up in being obsessed with the things that come out of the factory, and you want to turn on the factory itself. What kind of sense does that make? You want to blow up the factory because something that came out of the factory that you love so dang much is now going back to the factory. Something that you appreciated so much that now you've attached yourself to, from which only came from the factory, is no longer in your life, or turned out not to be what it is you thought it was. So now you hate the whole factory, you hate everything in the world. Just like the factory made that, it can make another and will. But if you blow up the factory, for which you're not capable of doing, but if you're going to wage war against the factory, you think it's going to send you anything else good? It ain't send back what it is that I ultimately value. Well, if he could send a million of them, it wouldn't be so valuable, now would it be? Like, our imagination betrays us in this world. People don't even think like that. They're just like, I hate God. He took my girlfriend away. He'll send you another one, a better one. Stay close to him. That's where it all come from. All the good stuff come from there. You mad at there because the stuff that came from it is no longer what you thought it was. It's like, come on, man. Let's grow up. Grow your spirit up, man. We're in the middle of a spiritual warfare. Stop having time for smallness like this. This is smallness. Somebody needs to articulate it that way. This is not big. The world does not revolve around you. Nothing that comes out of the factory is more important than the factory itself. Just like you're not bigger than the world around you. The world don't revolve around you, or your pain, or your desire to be happy, or your ego, for which you have no control over in a lot of cases. You being evil does not make you special. You're just one of many, and you're going to be wiped away for it. All of these different things. You saying something is good when it's evil and vice versa does not make it true. You're distorting the language in regards to how people label things does not make it true. Your application, and this is important, your application of falsehoods upon the characters of others does not make those falsehoods true. Nor is your lie to be believed because they can display their character in the presence of your lie and debunk it in real time. Israel. So when you run around and tell everybody that Islam is the devil's, and then they proceed to show all of us by way of their natural born character that they are decent, now we look back at you and say you lied. Not that we don't believe our lying eyes because we trust you. I know, amazing, right? How could it be possible? But when your ego and your imagination don't align with what is possible, you will think that you could will the world to believe lies that you tell about people who we're staring at. Literally staring at. He's a bad guy. Is he really? Or are you a bad guy for lying on him and all the other stuff that you're doing to him while we're watching? It's silliness, man. It's silliness. People think they're actually at war with God. No, you're at war with yourself. No, you can't war with God. You don't even know the first thing about God to even know how to attack him. Let alone that you cannot. And have any success. You think destroying yourself and others is going to do that to him, man? He's watching that happen all day long with people just like you following your stupidity. Doing the same thing you're doing, getting the same results. While he's still creating stuff that's going to be great. And the same time that you up here mad about something that you even lost, he's creating something even greater to put in somebody even greater's life. While you sitting up here running around thinking the world revolves around you. Small. You mad at the factory because something that came out of it didn't stay in your possession. You silly. All you got to do is go back to the factory and say you want something better, please, and thank you. But you'll have none of that because you're too busy trying to fight a war that you can't win. Against an enemy that you can't see for reasons that you don't understand. Congratulations. And that's what I have to say to all the Zionists out there, all the enemies of God, all the people call themselves Satanists when they're really just unhappy and don't know what the hell to do. And all these individuals that ultimately run around thinking that there is no God and that they can do whatever they want to do in the damn way of a real spiritual war that's taking place. I'm sorry. You're going to find out that money is not the factory from which good things come. It's just a thing that the people that come from the factory hover around to make themselves feel better about things they cannot control. It's literally all it is. If I hoard as much of this, then I can protect myself from that. No, you can't. If I put myself here, then I can be happy about the stuff that I'm unhappy about internally. No, you cannot. You can sit on that island all day long looking at the most beautiful beaches and you're still the most unhappy person because of whatever the hell went wrong. Your relationship is not with perception of surroundings. Your relationship is with the factory. The factory itself and how it can make your life better with what it is it can create, not only around you, but within you. And with the propaganda placed upon your head that would otherwise distort your imagination of what the factory is actually about, which is a big component, unfortunately, for all of us. Video 44. I thank you all for watching.